Hi there, my name is Yella and welcome to devlog 3 of Pirated. So on Tuesday I was working on mostly just the background texture for the start screen, as well as a Bezier curve to sort of have the background move behind the start screen. I really thought that, having something moving behind it would just create a really nice look for a start screen instead of just a static background. And when Keith showed me a video of a start screen that he really enjoyed, I thought, why don't we create something similar? And so started the entire idea of having a start screen. Little did I know though that it would take an entire week for me to do this. It's been quite a learning experience for me. As you guys have heard last episode, I'm completely not an artist at all, so doing this was a completely new experience for me, but it was awesome and I actually learned quite a bit. So then pretty quickly Wednesday rolled around and I had the idea to start working on an options screen. So I ended up having to make a couple of changes to the start screen image. I ended up extending it in the height to create 2 new areas that I could work on. And pretty quickly came up with an idea that I liked. After that, I decided to populate the options screen, as well as started to work on the programming for getting it to scroll down nicely. Again, ended up rolling into a couple of issues, which I ended up just getting Keith to figure out because I wanted to just get the textures and graphics to look a little bit better. I ended up changing the background image as well after about, I would say about 24 hours of working on the background texture. I thought it was quite tiled at first, so I decided that I would make a parchment texture, which I ended up using on both the start screen as well as the background for the start screen. In the end though, once the options menu was fixed and I had all the sliders in place for it, I was really happy with how it turned out. So then Thursday rolled around. Keith wanted me to work on some textures that needed some rework. Obviously, that's kind of what I've been doing for quite a bit of time now. So I thought, I'll just fix a couple of them. Then I got distracted and wanted to populate our Steam page a bit more because, I want to get that going pretty soon. So I started working on that, got a bunch of the descriptions and stuff filled out, so hopefully we'll be able to show you guys that in the upcoming weeks. And then Friday came around and I realized that I had no audio for my videos, so I decided to start doing the audio. And I'm also in the process of moving to a new place. Again, as this keeps happening to me. So yeah, I've been pretty busy with moving. So I moved my entire site up into another room. That's probably why my audio sounds a little different. Also, even though it's the same time as it is last week, I feel like I'm a lot more awake just because I've been drinking a lot of coffee. But I'll send you guys over to Keith. He's done a lot this week, and I'm very excited as well with what he's got to show you guys. So yeah, take it away, Keith.
Hey there, I'm Keith, the lead programmer for Pirated. So I'm going to run through a little bit of what I was working on this week. First thing was setting up weapons and new passives. If we go through this, I'm just kind of showing how quick it is to set up new weapons. This is for the wooden sword. So the sprites hadn't been updated in a while, and now that they have been to their new scale, I'm just setting the scale to 32 by 32 pixels, which is what the new weapons rough scale is, which is the rough scale of all sprites now in the game, either between 16 and 32. So adding the new sprite in and then just making sure that our point that comes in contact with the enemy lines up with that of the actual weapon itself. Yeah, so jumping in game, we can see here when you swipe there, the weapon is still quite big, so I just went back and changed the scale on that in the prefab. Just making it a little bit more of a realistic size, and then just pulling the sprite back a bit. Now here I'm just creating a sprite or a weapon pickup, so this is basically the one that the player will be able to walk into and the item will appear in his inventory. We already have this for passives, but now I'm just making it for weapons. As you can see here, I'm just swapping out the cutlass with the wooden sword. Now the last thing to do on this is change the description and the name, as well as the price cost for if it appears in a store, and this weapon will be good to go. Now if I jump back in game here, just go over to the player, and I'm just going to drop in the weapon now. So the actual pickup weapon, this will be the one that the player will come in contact with. You see it's got its price and everything on it. Now if I walk into that, it will give the player the weapon itself. So this is something that hadn't been set up for a while that I've been meaning to do. So now that that's implemented, we can easily create new weapons and swap between them on the fly. And this should work for ranged as well as melee weapons. Now I just want to show you one of the other passives we created. So this is Gamer Water. So we go into this. I still need to change the description, but it gives your arrows and your swords acidic traits. So you can see here that the character is burning an acid. It's not quite as effective as the fire now, but it's still at a little bit of extra damage. I think Gamer Water is a good choice for acid. So you can see first things first here, I'm just setting the scale of the broadsword that was in it. It was a bit off at first, so we had to change that pixel density so it was the same as the rest of the weapons. After that then I'm creating a new weapon pickup for the bow. Change the drop of the bow to, or change the pickup to actually have it so it gives the player the bow afterwards. The last thing, obviously, change the scale and then name, price and description. So this is everything that I was kind of working on this week to make sure that weapons could be implemented quickly. Now back in game here. So we'll just drop the pickup bow. Now, and like that, the player has the bow in their hands. With the wrong animation, but that was an easy enough fix as well. Basically, I just had to tell it to use the animation from the bow instead of the animation from the melee attacks. We can see first things first, I had to basically find out what the issue was with my code and rewrite the majority of it so it would finish spawning all of the specialized rooms like the treasure room, shop room, the starting room, boss room. So it would basically spawn them much cleaner and account for any missing rooms. Now, so as you can see here, it creates the necessary amount of rooms now for each of the specialized rooms to spawn: treasure, boss, and shop. And this is customizable for the future, so we can add anything else we need, like more specialized rooms, like hidden rooms and such. So obviously no roguelike would be complete unless it had chests that had random loot drops. So that was my goal for today, to set that up. So first things first, I started to set up collision detection for the chests to make sure they knew if they came in contact with the player, and then set their animation before actually going in and making sure their animation was set in the animator. So once that was done, I still had to set up so something would come out of the chest. So I was using gold coins at the minute just as a temporary placeholder. So once I got them to spring out of the chest, I'd have them randomly spring out in a circle, basically in a physics sphere. Let me just drop a couple of chests in there to show this. Oh yeah, and so they've got this animation as well, dropping animation as they come in. Yeah, and they give you a random chance, I think, between 2 and 8 coins.
So yeah, as you guys can tell, quite a lot of awesome stuff happened this week. I'm really excited to see where we go with this project next week. And yeah, I hope you guys will stick around. So if you don't mind hitting that like button and that subscribe button, it'll really help out. And stay tuned for Devlog 4. Who knows, maybe we'll have a Steam page by then. Oh, and enjoy the rest of the jazz music.